So, hi, my name is Karen Hogue, and this is the Tenor Guitar Happy Hour. And I'm here with Ken Heikkila, and he's the secretary of the board of the Tenor Guitar Foundation. Thanks for meeting with me, Ken.
Well, thank you. We
Uh,
love
so
getting out there.
cool. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background?
Well, okay. My mother always wanted us kids to have some music in our lives, and specifically an instrument. So, because I was the firstborn, she started out with piano lessons really young, and I hated them, didn't want to practice, and her mother made her practice, so she didn't make me practice. So that didn't last too long.
Yeah.
Then she was a big fan of the accordion, so she found me an accordion teacher. And that guy immediately gave up on me. He said, I can't do a thing with him. He plays by ear. So, so fortunately, after um, recorder and maybe first grade or second grade, then by third or fourth grade, we had music lessons in our school. So I started on saxophone, alto saxophone, and I had a couple of really good, there and middle school. I had some really good music teachers who I'm not exactly sure if I wasn't actually qualified to be first chair in the saxophone, or if the teacher thought it would be more valuable for me to make me second chair and give me music in other chords to transpose in my head as I was playing. So I would be playing a C, what do you call them, oboe part, or a B flat trumpet part, or something like on my E flat saxophone. So that, so I always, I can read music on those kind of instruments, and so I always tend to go. I have a whole bookcase that you can't really see right there, but it's all basically all music books. All So anyway, let me get a little bit further ahead in the story before I. So okay, so I by the time I got to high school, we had moved schools, so I had to actually drop music so I could take more um, college prep classes. But I always had a saxophone. And then when I went to college, one of my friends got a Martin guitar for Christmas, so he sold me his harmony for like $100 or whatever it was. And that's how I started out on, because I always wanted to sing, and it's hard to do that with a saxophone in your mouth.
But
And so from 19 to about 50, I played the guitar for myself, and then somewhere around 1999, well, somewhere in the early 2000s, I had been working at a job that was swing shift. So I was home in the daytime, and I started, and I had some extra money because it was extra pay for swing shift, and so I discovered eBay, and I started buying instruments on eBay, and I somehow I came across a tenor guitar. Mark Josephs had started the tenor guitar registry along with Tom Molyneux, who Mark called the loudest tenor guitar player in the world.
yeah.
He plays rock and roll, and whereas most of us tend to play more folky kind of stuff, I think probably. And Steve Pyatt well, Tom's in the Bay Area. Mark lived in Los Angeles. Steve Pyatt lives in Australia, and he has an amazing instrument collection, stringed instrument collection, mostly tenor guitars, just some beautiful stuff. And I think his website might be vintageguitars.com, maybe.
Okay.
Sorry. that's
Yeah.
not right. But his name's Pyott.
Okay.
And then Patrick Reinhardt and Tom Vincent. I don't know either of those people. One's, I think Tom lived in Japan, and Patrick lived in Colorado. Anyway, they started it.
Okay.
Started this online group, and then it started out as an email thing, and then it went to Yahoo groups, and we had at one time nearly 2,000 members when email was a thing. And so that's how I really started getting involved with the people that were into it. And that's, Mark started tenorguitar.com website, and it's still, we keep it active. And it's got some songs and some different information about tenor guitars, who sells them. It's an amazing list of luthiers that you can buy tenor guitars from nowadays.
So
When I
that's
first started, there was only a few.
so that's
But
the
anyway, I bought my first Harmony tenor guitar, which I thought was kind of interesting. That's what I got first in 2003, I think. And I just went on from there. I met Mike Soares, who lives out in Yonkers, over the email list, and he, at the time, he was importing his guitar bodies from I want to say India, and the next from Portugal. But things that didn't work out at some point, so he started getting them made in China, and so I have several of his tenor guitars, and then after I retired, I promised myself that I would buy a luthier built guitar. So I bought my Stephen Parks.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
And Stephen was a wonderful person, a wonderful luthier. Uh, what do you call it? A mandolin player, tenor guitar player. And I was fortunate to meet him before he passed, way too young, back in Virginia. And that's my main tenor. That's what I pick up 99.9% of the time. But I have an 8-string Soares, and I have another luthier built one that I bought at one of the Tenor Guitar Gatherings in Astoria from Herb Taylor, who is more famous for mandolins, but he makes awesome, beautiful wooden instruments, tenor guitars. That would be this guy here.
Ooh. Can you just strum across the strings?
It's a 5-string, and I have not mastered it, but
It's a lovely tone.
probably could be out of tune too.
That's okay. I just wanted to hear the tone.
Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, I know why it's out of tune. Because I thought at one point I was reading Keith Richards' autobiography, and I thought maybe since I wasn't really having good with the luck with the extra F on my 5th tuned CGD-A tenor guitar, I decided to try his open G, which he plays on a 6-string but with only 5 strings. So I thought, well, that's cool. I'll try that, but I haven't really. So I probably could have just done better without my fingers on the fretboard there. So that's pretty much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I might as well get to the Tenor Guitar Gathering. That was always a dream of Mark Joseph's.
Mm-hmm.
And it finally, let's see, in 2010 was the first Tenor Guitar Gathering in Astoria, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2009, Mark asked me if I wanted to be on the board of what was going to be at some point in time a nonprofit, the Tenor Guitar Foundation. And I said, yeah, as long as I don't have to do anything. I basically said, I'm not a money guy. I'm not a great tenor guitar player. But he said, well, you have good ideas. I like to run stuff by you, and So I've been basically a member of the board ever since. And then, like I said, in the next year we had the first one, and it's an amazing event. You can go to Tenor Guitar. Where is it?
I think it's tenorguitargathering.info, right?
Info, yeah, tenorguitargathering.info. That's it. You can go there and you can see last year's virtual tenor guitar gathering with wonderful musicians from all over the country. And since Mark, we've had Josh Reynolds, Nick Reynolds from the Kingston Trio's son was our president for a few years. And then now one of the wives of one of the tenor guitar players, Harriet, just forgot her name. Anyway, Harriet, that's horrible, but not. Anyway, she's our president now, and she had been the secretary, and she talked me into becoming the secretary. And since she makes such good agendas, it makes it really easy for me to just fill in the spaces and do that work. And we have another one coming up this year. It will be the 11th. No, the 11th was the virtual one. And so this will be the 12th.
Do you have a date yet?
Yes, we do. And I did not write that down, but I can find it real quick.
Okay.
If you have a question, I can answer that while I'm doing this too.
Sure. And so besides the Tenor Guitar Gathering, what kinds of things does the Tenor Guitar Foundation do? What kind of initiatives?
Okay, well, we've tried to start up. We're having a little bit of a struggle. In the past, when it first started, at the end of a gathering, Mark, his family, and friends would sometimes contribute thousands of dollars to pay the musicians off, because it wasn't really that well planned out. Now, since Harriet's taken over, and even when Josh, at the last couple ones with Josh, we don't do that anymore. We don't hire people we can't pay at the end. I mean, there was one musician that actually forewent his fee because he knew we were broke, and which we paid the next year. But still, we don't do that anymore. So so we do a lot of fundraising. We're trying. What's on our agenda? What's in the sight of our agenda is to do ukuleles for kids program, probably, because that's a ukulele for many reasons. Ukulele players often go to the tenor guitar at some point when they find out about them, decide that, maybe they'd like to have something with steel strings. And just because it's inexpensive, Kala has been wonderful donating instruments to us for raffling off, and as well as some other manufacturers, Eastwood and Diodario, and so we have had some good corporate sponsorship, but we would like to be able to do more. It's when we started out, we were doing 2 separate concerts every year, and then other events around town, and we've kind of pared it down a little bit, which is another reason why we don't run out of money so fast. But I forget where I was going with all that. Oh, I know. 2022. So it will be June 3rd and 4th
Okay.
of 2022. And we're planning on again hiring the videographer, really talented guy that did our virtual one last year, as well as having an in-person. And Astoria is a great town to visit. It's right at the mouth of the Columbia River. You
Oh,
can
wow.
see the ocean. It's a kind of a tourist town, but a small one. And they have they have a lot of local events. They have a poets gathering and so several Scandinavian type events. Different things go on there, and a large brew pub, a lot of really good restaurants.
Nice.
So it's definitely worthwhile. But I'm happy that we've gone virtual as well, because I know that some people can't take their vacation all the way across the country, especially these days.
Right.
But,
Um, so what do you know about the history of the tenor guitar in general?
well, my understanding, and I think there's probably more than one theory on this, is that it was first probably back in the 20s, and earlier than that, there were a lot of banjo orchestras.
Yes.
And banjo, and one of the banjos is a tenor banjo. And so when banjo players wanted to go with a more, well, a different, whatever, however you want to say, a guitar instead of a banjo, they that was one of the options that manufacturers offered them. And Martin was in probably at the beginning, Harmony. Um, I'm not sure who else.
I have a Kalamazoo from the 1930s.
Gibson, yeah, Gibson and Kalamazoo, same, later the same company. Um, so that was when it first hit, as far as I know, and probably in the 20s or the 30s. And I actually had a Martin that was from 34 at one time, but I wasn't playing enough, so I passed it along. But and then during the folk singing thing in the 60s, it kind of came back because of the Kingston Trio, for one. But I watched a PBS documentary not too long ago about that era, and virtually every band on it had a tenor guitar player. I mean, one of them had two or three. I forget if it was the Limelighters or something. I mean, besides the Kingston Trio, there were a lot of tenor guitars around in the 60s.
So do you remember the other bands besides the Limelighters and the Kingston Trio?
I don't. It was a
Okay.
while ago that I watched it. But so that's, and then just kind of started getting rediscovered. People nowadays, Nico Case from the New Pornographers, and she's of course a fabulous solo artist in her own right now. She's been playing the tenor guitar all along. Um, the usual suspects all play them. I mean, let's see, Warren Ellis. He's from one of the jam band groups.
I
He's
think
got a sig.
I think he plays with Nick Cave.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's got a signature Eastwood model, I think it is. And so they're, it's making a pretty good. Like I said, even back in the early 2000s, we had 2,000 people on our Yahoo group from all over the world. And yeah, there's just a lot of really neat instruments out there, as far as tenor guitar goes.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, I would kill to get a David Hodson, one of his Macafieri tenors. I mean, just you know, it's just amazing instrument. And there's Shelley Parks in Canada makes some really beautiful instruments. I have a Kala tenor ukulele that Heikkila makes strings now for ukuleles that you can tune in fifths. So I have it tuned CGDA. Um, it was one of the donated instruments to Tenor Guitar Gathering 5, I think it was. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of them out there. There really are.
So what draws you to the tenor guitar as opposed to just having a 6-string guitar?
Well, when I first started playing the tenor guitar, I noticed that I had to quit playing the 6-string for about a year to get my head around the fifths tuning. And by the time that year was over, I knew more chords on the tenor guitar than I had learned in 30 years on the 6-string, basically. I mean, because it's just, maybe it's my mathematical bent, I don't know, but to me, it's really, really easy to find the jazzy kind of chords that I like to play songs that are a little bit too hard for me. I don't, I mean, it started with piano. I did not like sitting there and playing Three Blind Mice over and over again.
Yeah.
I never thought that was a good way to learn how to play something. For me, it didn't work. And so I'm the same way. I play, I have Native American flutes that I fool around with, and different things. And so if they feel right, if they, some songs I can play on the tenor guitar, but I don't play on the 6-string. Some songs the other way around, I play them on the 6-string. So they're mostly they're more interesting, and I haven't taken the time maybe to transpose it into a key that would fit better. I don't know what the reason is. I mean,
You just like
harmonica just seems to play blues no matter what you do. As if you're blowing on it, it seems like you're playing blues. And saxophone works really well for jazz, and So I guess it's just this. I think maybe it seems more versatile to me than the 6-string guitar, that I can play more different kinds of music on the tenor guitar. Maybe that's it. I don't really know for sure. But
So how many tenor guitars do you have altogether?
I'm not sure. I sold a few of them at the last Tenor Guitar Gathering, but 3, 4, at least 4. But I also have a tiple and a what do you call it? Ihuela. It's got 5 strings. Doesn't tune like I tune the tenor. Quattro. I have 3 banjos. I have a tenor banjo. I have a banjo uke, or uke banjolele, whatever you want to call it, and then I have another one it's a banjo mandolin, basically, and a mandolin, and But I think I sold about 3. I had a Sorazi Tenorcaster, and I had one of his really nice arch tops that I sold last year, and I think I might have sold. I had a resonator that he made, and I might have sold that one too. Sold at least 2 of them. So I kind of, I try to get rid of stuff that I don't use that much, but I'm not good at it. I don't like to really. I have accordions and auto harps. I'll often take one of the things we do at the Tenor Guitar Gathering is they have a riverfront trolley that it takes about an hour for a round trip, and we all get on with our instruments at one end, and we'll play old Kingston Trio songs and stuff on it, and I usually bring my auto harp because it's just one less thing poking out at people, you know, that are sitting next to you, and you know, just to be different.
So,
It's easy.
yeah. What are some, like, tell me about some of the players that come to the Tenor Guitar Gathering. Like, who are some folks that that you know you like hearing play?
Well, John Lawler is probably the one of the one of my favorites. He's been coming ever since the beginning. He was a childhood friend of Mark's. I'm not sure about childhood, but he was a friend of Mark's because Mark came from New Jersey, where John lives. And John started out when he was in the teens. He was a mummer, and he played the banjo with the mummers and marched in the bands and the parades with them and whatnot. And somewhere along the line, he figured out about tenor guitars. He couldn't really afford one, so he took an old funky 6-string and a hacksaw and made it a 4-string. And he's just an amazing jazz player. He's as good as anybody, I think. You know. Besides him, there's Grant Flick. Just started coming a few years ago when he was 16. He started on the violin, and then he went to tenor guitar. Plays them both really well. I'm not sure if he's going to Berkeley or one of the top music schools anyway, or he's probably graduated by now. But anyway, he's fabulous. Classical, jazz, anything really. Let's see. Tyler Jackson, I think he might be from Nashville. He's either from Nashville or Austin, I'm not sure. And he's a session musician that's really good. Tom Molyneux, he's just a regular guy that works in a music store and plays rock and roll, blues on electric tenor. There's a guy that's another just regular guy, kind of. He goes by Silky Johnson on the internet, but his name's Mitchell Dejanay, and he plays a lot of stuff. He plays mostly a 5-string tenor, I believe, and an electric usually, and he does some really interesting versions of Tom Waits songs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's Carl. See, we historically we always have it the weekend after Seattle Folklife Festival. So we've had some of their artists come through. Carl, I can't remember his last name off the top. He does a lot of folk stuff. He has done at least one album of Woody Guthrie songs. And who's the other guy from the South? I can't remember his name right off the top. There's a lot of them, you know. Just regular people. We just had a new young woman called Allison Warlitner. She lives in Eugene, Oregon. Jerry Carthy is a fairly well-known Irish musician that plays tenor guitar. He's been several times. I don't know. There's a lot of them. Hopefully you'll do an interview with one of the other board members that has that stuff at their fingertips.
Oh, absolutely. No, we're definitely going to do that. And so what do you see, where would you like to see the tenor guitar going in the future? Like, what would you like to see happen?
I would just like to see more people be aware, that it's a really versatile instrument. That it's, I think it's easier to learn to play than the six string. I always had a trouble when you start getting into the more complicated chords on a six string. You tend to not play all six strings. There's muted strings. There's for rock and roll, there's power chords where they're only playing 2 or 3 strings at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 4 fingers, and I always like to play all the strings I possibly can. And it's a lot easier to do that with only 4 to work with. And yeah, I'd like to see the tenor guitar gatherings all over. We are not able to, I have people ask me, why don't you do it on the East Coast every other year or whatever? And it's like, I don't live on the East Coast. I don't know, not that I've never been. I've been like once, but it's not that easy. Somebody else, if somebody wants that, we'd be glad to help them in any way we possibly could. But we have our hands, we have enough to do with just the one in Astoria, and I do encourage anybody that can make it to come.
I'm just curious, and obviously, as a nonprofit, this might not be doable, but would you have scholarships available for travel for like young people, college age kids who might be interested?
We don't at this point in time. Like it's, we're just really happy that we're able to cover, paying the musicians a fair deal, and some of them do stay with locals that support us, and whatnot, and others stay in motels or whatever, but if possible, if it's up, we do what we can to save money, and some.
Understand. Yeah. Well, awesome. So let me see if I've covered everything. Would you like to play something? I mean, that's up to you if you want to do that, but I also understand if you don't.
I don't mind, as long as the poor people listening to this don't mind. Like I said, I tend to play things that are a little bit too hard for me. I was going to play one of the first songs that Mark taught me, but I can't find the music for it.
What's the name of that song?
A nice version of Moon River.
Oh, I love Moon River.
Yeah, it's actually on tenorguitar.com if anybody wants to look at the way he plays it. It's really nice. But one of my second favorites is probably Georgia on My Mind, which I just got music for the intro, but I haven't learned it yet. This is the main part. Chords and verses is all I really know, so I'll just do this in case anybody cares what I'm doing on the strings. Okay, let's see if I can. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and low as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile. Oops. Tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I see the road looks to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I'll spare you a second time through.
That was great.
Thanks.
That was awesome. And that's a lovely instrument. That's amazing tone. Tell me about that instrument again. Who built it?
Steve Parks from Virginia.
And what
And he
kind
was
of wood is it?
It's a spruce top and mostly maple. Back and sides maple neck.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And he did all. We worked on. He did the inlays and whatnot. I chose some of the themes. And as you can see, this one here is the Chinese character for harmony, and then he designed. With my input, he designed the dragon with a pearl for the headstock, and then for the rosette is the bagua, Japanese or Chinese symbols that make up the I Ching.
Oh, wow.
And it's his idea to use the fan fret system designed by Mr. Novak's in Fremont, California, I believe. And yeah, this was his 16th tenor guitar and his 86th instrument.
It's a great instrument.
It's in a book called something about wooden instruments. But anyway.
Well, thank you so much for playing for me. And is there anything else that you want to add about the Tenor Guitar Foundation, the gathering, anything personal about your playing or your instruments that you'd like to talk about?
No, I can't think of anything. I just hope everybody goes to the website, tenorguitargathering.info, and watches our last Tenor Guitar Gathering, and then hopefully maybe donates to the performers. They got a small stipend for sending in the videos, but I think we were all hoping they would get some good donations from people.
So they can watch the videos of the performances, donate to the performers, and they can also donate to the Tenor Guitar Foundation too to support.
That's correct. There's buttons for all of that, and I think there could be some merchandise on there. I'm not sure. We've had T-shirts and things in the past. I should have been wearing one today, but I thought I was going to put my sweater on, and it didn't get to it.
Well, but you have a Reading Rainbow shirt on, so that's equally as cool. So, and then the videos are some of the folks you mentioned, like John Lawler and some other folks.
Exactly. Yes. There's I believe there's about 9. Yeah. Jean Mann, she's another one that from Seattle that started on ukulele and plays both now, ukulele and tenor guitar. She's her and John Lawler have worked on some songs together. That's another fun thing is that you see the musicians get together and kind of jam or back up or whatever, each other. That's really fun.
Cool. Well, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I don't see anything here that I was planning on doing. Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, the Herb Taylor tenor I actually ordered at a Tenor Guitar Gathering, because the one gathering we had about half a dozen luthiers mostly from around the area, but he came from Colorado. And so, yeah. So we do, we have things to do. There's workshops. Most of the performers give workshops. Maybe all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great time and great way to promote the instrument and just create community. It sounds really awesome.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this, and I hope it goes a lot further. I'd love to see some interviews with some other tenor guitar players.
Yeah.
Maybe some people. Well, Marcy Markser, she's a East Coast gal that has played at a couple of. She's in the Tenor Guitar Hall of Fame, and her and her partner Kathy Fink have played at a couple of Tenor Guitar gatherings.
Oh, great. Well, it's definitely a lot to think about, and I so appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And don't hang up just yet. I'm just gonna press the stop record button. But this has been the Tenor Guitar Happy Hour, and my name is Karen Hogue, and this is Ken Heikkila, the secretary of the Tenor Guitar Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.